Hi everybody, it's EBENLO, painter of song, coming at you from Southern California. And today I'm going to do a special video about how to paint, basically. How to paint. For starters, if you're going to be a painter, you better know about art. Fine art, that is. If you're going to, say, sell fine art. This is an awesome book. I'm not even affiliated with this book. It's by Ross King and it's called Art. And it's got just a great collection of photos and pictures of art. And it's all the way to the modern age right now, in fact. I haven't even checked if they got Banksy in there, but honestly, I bet they got Banksy in there because they've got a lot of modern artists in there as well. Not that Banksy's the end-all be-all, but he's an awesome artist and, a contemporary artist, that is. And he's doing some really cutting-edge things out there, so I think that's pretty cool. Let's look at it. Let's look it up real quick. It shouldn't take but a second. Is there an appendix? Yes, there is. There's an index, that is. B. Put these babies on. B ain't bang. Let me see if they got Banksy. Yep, they do. Page 575, Banksy. Anyway, it's a very cool book. It's got like your favorites in there: Van Gogh, Monet, Da Vinci, Salvador Dali, list goes on and on. Just, check it out. And also, if you're going to be painting fine art, you better know about fine art. So that's one book that is all about fine art. So anyway, check it out. Okay. I'm not even working with a list here, but for painting fine art, you got to remember your gesso. Number one, get a good gesso and get a bunch of it. Get a good gallon of it. A good one that I use is by, let me see here. Sorry, let's see. Here it is. It's by Liquitex. Liquitex makes an excellent gesso. They call it Liquitex Basics Acrylic Gesso. And for whatever reason, most of the fine artists have gone to acrylic gesso. However, traditionally, there was a rabbit skin glue gesso that they would mix with marble powder, and it was an excellent gesso. However, I've used it before, and I found out that if you're not careful and you heat it too hot, it's gonna have bubbles in it, and it ends up with little holes in your painting, in your canvas. And I really did not like that factor at all. So I used it for a good 10 canvases, 8 by 10s, just some little ones that I was holding in my backpack as I went along in the beach, and I would draw things, or I'd go to the library and I'd paint draw musicians that I would later paint when I got back home. And anyway, yeah, I think Liquitex gesso is the way to go. The not necessarily Liquitex. There are other gessos on the market. You might want to try them and check around to see which one is the best for your particular applications as well as your taste. So check a few out. If you're going to be doing this anyway, you might as well check a few out and see which one is the best for you. Now, what gesso does is, if you're painting on wood, say a piece of MDF wood, what it does is you want to sand a little bit of the wood so that way there's a little bit of a rough edge to it. And then you lay down your Liquitex or your gesso. You lay down your gesso over the top of that. And what that does is it has a layer between the oil, say the oil paint that you're going to use, or whether it's oil or whether it's acrylic paint. Whatever it is it's going to have a nice thin plastic layer in between your media and your substrate, what they call it. Your substrate is going to be your canvas, your wood. So what happens is it protects it. The gesso protects it, so that way it doesn't break down over time from the oil, which if you paint directly onto oil, if you paint oils directly onto the substrate, the wood or the canvas, it's going to break down over time and it's going to not be archival quality. It's going to break down and just disintegrate after enough years. Basically, it'll just fall apart, from what I understand anyway. And it makes sense because, you know, oil on wood is just you got a deterioration factor going on there. So anyway, always use a good gesso in between your substrate and your paint. Now, what it also does is your oils will kind of meld with the top of the gesso, and you'll have a very good adhesion factor, and it's going to be a good painting. It's going to be an archival painting, basically. With acrylics, I suppose it's even better. The verdict is still out as far as how archival acrylic is going to be, but everybody in the industry seems to believe that it's going to be amazingly good archival quality, because it's basically you got gesso, and then which is kind of an acrylic like plastic, and then you got another acrylic kind of like plastic going over the top of that, and it's merging good and melding good, and yeah, it's you're using, like, you know, acrylic with acrylic, so it's a natural thought that you're going, okay, this is going to be really long lasting. So yeah, so that's two things that you can do. The other thing that's come up recently in my communications on my videos has been someone asked me to tell them how to make a custom canvas, wood canvas, a custom wood canvas. And I'll show a bit of what I've done before. I've got a few of them actually. Right now, one of my best examples is called Golden Clouds #1. And Golden Clouds #1 is MDF, medium density fiberboard, on this piece, the surface piece. And it's just a thin piece of fiberboard, or hardboard we call it often. And I personally just glue it on. You know what I'm saying? I glue it on with wood glue onto these stems of, you know, they're just 1 inch by 1 inch pieces of wood that I've got merged like this with a miter. And yeah, all it is glued on. I don't even take nails to each end, because why should I do that unless I don't anticipate these ever being in a flood, but you know, a flood ruins just about any kind of painting anyway. So I just figure the glue is good enough, honestly. And correct me if I'm wrong. Like, if you think you should nail here, 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 and throughout the, you know, the face of it to nail it to the stems here, to the sort of backers, which I don't think that's a good idea. I really don't. I don't want to nail anything to the surface of the face of my painting. I'd rather just glue it and then paint over the top of it, because it's like pristine to me that way, and you're not going to end up with loose nails coming through it over a century or 2 centuries later. You know, that would be really, to me, kind of foolish and disruptive to the painting, you know. So I don't like the ideas of nails in the surface. I don't like the idea of nails in the corners either. I'd just rather, this glue is wood glue, and it's like super, super strong, you know. So anyway, and then what you do is you get these screw eyelet screws, I want to say, and you stick them on the insides of either stem on the sides here, and then you've got at the end of it, you've got a piece of wire that is hooked to those screw stems. And yeah, I can't show you really closely because I don't like showing the back of my painting. If I show the back of my painting, I assume people are going to copy my style of how to do that. And what I mean is, you open yourself up to, I want to say, forgeries. But I don't know. Maybe I'm being stupid about that, and it's just beetle-headed, and I just should share all of what I'm doing. But yeah, you know what? What the heck, dude? I'll show you how I do my backboard. And here's why. Here's why I'm going to show you. Is because the more people who do it this way, the less forgeries are there going to be. This here is a painted piece, just white piece of acrylic paint, where I put my right thumbprint into the white paint, so that way it was only done by me. And if people are keen to know how to validate paintings, they're going to be able to validate mine every time. That is the right way, the unforged way. It's going to have my thumbprint in the painting, in the back of the painting, as well as in the certificate of authenticity. Oops, I'm shaking my leg. I don't know why I'm not really anxious. I just feel excited. Anyway, here's Golden Clouds. It might not show up right. I put my initials here, my name here, EBENLO, the date 2024-03, the March 2nd, oil on hardboard, and it's a 12 by 12. Then I put my email address, which is ebenlo@ebenlo.com. So that's how I do my backers. And that's how they're screwed in on the side here, if you can notice that. Just screwed in a little right in the middle of the inch wide stems on the around the back. And yeah, then you put your wire in. It's just a painting wire. You can find it anywhere, just about, and especially like at Home Depot or online, you know, as well. Yeah, so, and then when you're done, you put your initials in there, whatever your initials look like. Mine are a little bit different, sort of Japanese influenced. And yeah, that's how you make a painting, basically. in the future, I intend to do a little more in-depth session on it. And yeah, check it out. Visit ebenlo.com or painterofsong.com for more. All right. Cheers. Peace out.